that I was due to call the Minister at 7:10, and that would leave 2 deputies unable to contribute, and I know the deputies have been here for quite some time. So the Minister has agreed, and if the House is willing, we will continue for an extra 10 minutes in order to accommodate every deputy who is offered. Now, we're taking a bit of a liberty in so doing, but I take it that the House is in agreement with that. Okay, so can I ask those who I do call to stay strictly within the time limits? Again, I think making their maiden contributions, Deputy Kathleen Funchion and Deputy Maurice Quinlivan, you're very welcome. Deputy Funchion first.
Thanks very much, Karen Carlow. And I'm glad to get the opportunity to speak on such an important issue, and it's a very important issue in our constituency of Carlow and Kilkenny. I was first elected into local government in 2009, and in my time in local and now national politics, housing has been one of the single biggest issues facing my constituency. To be honest, it is not surprising that there is a housing crisis, given that for the past number of years there has been little social housing constructed, and those in mortgage distress have been abandoned by the government and their predecessors. In Kilkenny, since 2009, 26 social houses have been constructed. Yet we have 2,800 people on our housing list. We have 3 emergency accommodation facilities, all currently full with waiting lists. And this doesn't take into account the amount of families that sleep in overcrowded situations, that are sleeping on sitting room floors and that are staying in unsuitable accommodation. In Carlow, there is 1 emergency facility. It's a facility for men, and there is no facility for emergency accommodation for women. Behind all the stories that we hear, and many deputies have offered stories of people either facing eviction or are currently living in B&Bs and hotels, we have to remember that people living with the daily reality of life in a hotel room with their children, there are real people behind this all, and I don't think we should ever forget that. There are people who didn't envisage this type of life for themselves and their families. People who are living in a sense of hopelessness, wondering how in 2016 is this the reality of their lives. It is clear that people have been failed miserably by the government, but I do think that anyone who is listening to this debate and people who are in that situation are looking for solutions and they're looking for answers, and there's a responsibility on us to provide those. Last week, Sinn Féin put forward proposals in relation to the housing and homelessness crisis. We need to have both long-term, obviously, and short-term approaches to the housing crisis. It doesn't take a lot of common sense to realise that a long-term approach is we need to start building social housing. But however, in the short term, for people who are in that situation of the reality of a B&B and hotel environment, we need to have short-term solutions for them. We need to see a complete overhaul of the rent supplement scheme in conjunction with rent regulation measures, and that's something that our party put forward last week. Yeah, no, just 2 more seconds. I think the key in a debate such as this is to come up with constructive solutions and ensure that they are implemented so that we can offer real hope to families facing into another night in a hotel or B&B.
Thank you very much. Deputy Quinlivan.